Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are still waiting for the temple devotees to log in and start the class. Today's class will be from live from temple. So please continue to be online. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
We'll take this shloka from Bhagavatam 9.10.1 and 2, and maybe one more. We'll just browse through that. Then I will take up the glorification of Sri Ram and also glorification of Bharat. So this is the shloka. I'll just read. You can listen. Shri Shukavacha Katvangad Dirgabahuscha. Okay, if you want to decide, you can do it. Yeah. Shri Shukavacha Katvanga Dirgabahuscha Raghus Tasmat Prutushrava Ajastato Maharajas Tasmat Dasharato Abhavat. Translation. Shukadeva Goswami said, the son of Maharaja Katvanga was Dirgabahu, and his son was the celebrated Maharaja Raghu. From Maharaja Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality Maharaja Dashrath. So that's why Ram is called, he's coming from the Raghu Vamsha, right? So Katvanga, we know Katwanga's position, and he was the one who got the boon, and it was said that he had only one muhurta left when he was fighting. So he then came down, and then he handed over the kingdom, and then practiced meditation in such a way that he will reach the Godhead within that one muhurta. Then, so son of Katvanga was Dirgabahu. Dirgabahu's son was Raghu. Then from Raghu came Aja. Aja son is Dasharatha. So Dasharatha also, he was called, his name came as Dasharath. We know that because he had so much of capability that he could he could ride 10 chariots at the same time, and he could conquer the world. And also that he's also said that he could conquer. He had and all the directions, four directions: east, west, north, south, and then in between you have the directions north, west, south, east, like that. So 8 directions, and then above, and then the below. So like that, he was very, very adept in the warfare and in the charioting. So that's how he got. So that famous Dasharatha's son was Sri Ram. That will come to know. So now this is the shloka number 2. Tasya api Bhagavan Esha. You can, Bhagavan. Tasya api Bhagavan Esha. Sakshad Brahmamayo Harihi Amsha Amshena Chaturdhagat Putratvam Prartita Surai Rama Lakshmana Bharata Shatrugna iti samgnaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Being prayed for by the demigods. So being prayed for by the demigods. So demigods prayed. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaja Dashrath. So basically, they are the Chaturvyuha. So Chaturvyuha is consisting of the Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. So the same form they appeared, and the Prabhupada is in the Prabhupada also. That all these are Vishnu Tattvas. So in this Bhagavatam, the narration is very limited. As Vasudev has given, and also in this shloka, third shloka, he says that because people have heard the truth and people know about Ramchandra's pastimes, but still I'm covering it in brief. So like that is there. Then comes another one very important question. Yeah. So, yeah, and we also know how they were born after Dashrath did the Putra Kameshti Homa Yagna. So the Prashadam, the Payasam was accepted by Dashratha and his wife. So from that, one half of the Payasam was given to Kaushalya, then 1/4 was given to Kaikeyi, and then 1/8 was given to Sumitra. So that is how Rama, Lakshmana, and then Rama, Bharata, son of Kaikeyi, and Sumitra's sons were Shatrugna and Lakshmana. So this is the one shloka which talks about Ram's sacrifice. I'll just read the shloka, or I'll read the translation. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramchandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. So in brief, Vasudev is explaining that how, in order to fulfill the desire of his wife, Dashratha's wife, Kaikeyi, that he had to live behind the kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives the body. That's how he goes. So like that, he went with the forest to Sita. So here, as we know that after Dashrath, after the wedding of Ram, then it was big festivities. You know, when they had come to Janak's palace, and then he tied the string for that bow. So once after he tied the bow, the string, then immediately that marriage was held, and along with the marriage of Ram, even all the other brothers also got married. So that is Lakshmana got Urmila, and then Bharata's wife is Mandavi, and then the Shrutakirti is the wife of Shatrugna. So like that, they were also born, and then everything was fine. They came back to Ayodhya. Everything was in good reign of Dashratha. Then he, after age, it passed by. Then he felt very aged, and he felt very fatigued, and then he wanted to hand it over the king to Ram, because he is the eldest son. So Ram at that time was 27 years of age. So it was time for him that he'll be handed over. So when the decision came, he conveyed to all the family members. Everybody were happy. They were so happy, accepted. And then when every preparation is going on, all the munis, sages, everyone has come for the coronation. Just the previous day, and the festivities have happened, and the decision is there. People are, waiting for the coronation to happen the next day. That time, she comes to know. First mantra comes to know That when she is there she goes to the balcony and the terrace, and then finds that everywhere it is bursting laughter, bursting crackers, so much of everybody is enjoying. There is so much of festoon, all the the arrangements, all the banners, and so many things have been done, flower garlands, everything. So she suddenly gets very kind of out of envy. So Ramayana says out of envy, purely out of envy. And she's the mantra is the epitome of envy. The highest form of enviousness was in mantra. Of course, that is all because of a curse that she had to. She was under that situation. And then as she is the dasi of Kaikeyi, so immediately she comes and tells Kaikeyi, "Arey Baba, you are the most dearmost wife of Dashratha, and your son is not going to be the king. What a misfortune! What an agony! So you should be the demanding. You should be taking lead, and you should have your son Bharata anointed as the king. No, not Ram or anybody else." Like that, she starts influencing Kaikeyi. But Kaikeyi initially she refuses. No. Ram is the I know the Shastras. I know everything. All that she says that Ram is the one, is the eldest son, and then he's the one who is going to be the king. And I cannot change the decision. But somehow, out of infatuation and that mamakar and her the wise always prevails over the wise. That is VICE prevails over WISE. Like that, because this is Kali. I mean, that is also again the it's a great act of fortitude, or what to say, it's a destined. It was destined that it should happen. And even in the Treta Yuga, the amsha of the Kali was still there, right? So Sattva's mode of Sattva was only 75%. 25% was still this contaminated atmosphere. So this happened, and then finally she decides, yes, okay, if you are telling like that, okay, now I will ask. But then how to ask? So she also gives the clue that you have to claim for the boon which you had got. Once Dashrath, while he was fighting with he had helped all the suras, demigods, to fight against the asuras. And at that time of fight, it so happened that he fought valiantly, but still at the end of the day, he fell down. He had some wounds, and then he was almost about to die. He was defeated. He was almost about to die. But at that time, Kaikeyi came to his help, Dashratha's help, and then she took him aside, and then she gave him all the medicines, and she treated him. And then she was, immediately Dashratha got that power, and then again he decided to fight, and then he won the war. So because of that contribution, what Kaikeyi had done to him, so he had asked that you can ask to any two boons. But then Kaikeyi said, no, I don't want. I'll ask when I require. I'm not in need of it, any boons. So like that so that mantra reminds, see, now this is the opportunity. This is a great time that you ask for these boons, and you will get it. Now he will not refuse. And they know the condition of Dashrath also. So then this comes, and they say, Kaikeyi comes and tells Dashratha comes to her room, the what you call that, the Antapura of Kaikeyi, and she's completely in a very very despair situation, and she's wailing, and she's crying, and she's very depressed mood. And then so she is being the most dearmost wife. So Dashratha also gets very upset, and then he tries to pacify and ask what happened, why, what is this? And she says that no, see, this is what I want, these two boons to be fulfilled. Completely Dashrath is aghast, and then he faints, and so many things happen. It's a total pall of gloom appears all over Ayodhya and all over the country. But what to do? He had to fulfill the vow of his wife. So he very relentlessly, or hesitatingly, he accepts, because he don't have a choice. So after he accepts, then this message goes to Kaushalya, and then that is there, and then Lakshmana is also there. Lakshmana also, it goes to Lakshmana. Lakshmana starts, he will come and blast Kaikeyi. He will say, what is this? How you are doing this? How cruel you can be? So there in this, Lakshmana had been, so I'm taking this Valmiki's Ramayana told by Purna Pragnadas. This is the book. I don't know if anyone has read it. It's a wonderful book. It's a complete compilation of Ramayana. So here, Lakshmana had been controlling his rage, but after hearing this, he could remain silent no longer. Lakshmana vented his anger, saying, "Our father has become senile and perverse. Being overpowered by lust, he has become a plaything in the hands of wicked mother Kaikeyi. Why should we stand by passively and accept all this? A father, a king, or a spiritual master who has lost sight of what should be done and what should not be done must be rejected." So he blasts, and then he also talks in favor of Dashrath that you have misled him. So you cannot do like this, and he's out of his composure and all that. It is like you're forcing him, like anything in the material world, wherever it is. If you're forcing somebody and then ask him to make a decision, even in the court of law, it is not accepted because it is duress. Prabhu knows. The statement was said under duress. Duress means under force, compulsion. So the judge can reject that. So like that. So it is he is arguing like this, and finally there is no choice. There's for them. It is mandatory, and even Ram also says that he accepts. He says that whatever my father has ordered, I will dutifully I will follow. That is how he got the title Putravakya, Pitavakya Paripalaka. So he was that he got that title that he will at any cost he will follow the principles or follow the instructions of his father. So like that. Then Ram also says, first he pleads to Sita that you don't come. No, I will go alone. The curse is that, what is the curse? That the boon, what she asked, and then for him, what was the instruction was that he has to, that Bharata has to, Kaikeyi's boon was, she asked was that Bharata, my son, has to become the king. And second thing is that Ram has to go on exile, vanvas for the 14 years. Jagannath Baldev Subhadramaya ki jai. So now he says, why you have to come? Let me go. I will go. You don't have to come. Like that he says to Sita. But then Sita is not relenting. So Sita also, she laments. And this is what she says. See, Ram says, "My dear Sita, I have no choice but to abide by my father's order. But I want you to remain here. Go every day and offer your respects to my father's feet and follow Bharata's commands implicitly. My dearest one, I have come here just to see you before going to the forest." So Ram is very, very straightforward, and then he doesn't want his wife, recently married, and why she has to suffer. So that is his mode. And when it comes to Ram's part, like his way of dealing with the things. So Ramayana says Lord Rama was Lord Vishnu himself, incarnated in the human society for the purpose of killing the wicked Ravana. As a supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Rama exhibited himself as the reservoir of all good qualities. No, there is nothing, nothing which was left in the whatever you call it. It is the total sum and substance of human behavior or human loving attitude. Everything, all the qualities he had. Lord Rama's beautiful bodily features provided everyone that viewed him with the full satisfaction of their eyes. So anybody who saw Rama, anybody who came in darshan, anybody who heard Rama's name, they were completely attracted. They had all their material, their difficulties, miseries were just vanished, because they had such a great association and such a great effect of Rama. Lord Rama played the part of a most courageous and heroic Kshatriya, and yet at the same time he was self-controlled, self-satisfied, without malice, and gentle in word and deed. So these are the glorious qualities of Ram. And as we know that when Vishwamitra took them, they were all just 16-year-old boys, Rama and Lakshmana, and they had to fight with the biggest, greatest of all the demons, right? And amongst them were Subahu and Marichi, and then Tataka. They were all there, and all of them they had to fight. But that is his valor. And after having fought all them, especially Subahu and all that, Marichi, so their name became very glorious. It was all known to everyone that this small, very young youth, boys, they have had such a heroic, effort. So that is how they were glorified, and this is their character. So they were very gentle, even for those people who are the so-called who are trying to hate Ram or trying to talk, ill words. For them also, Ram was a shower mercy, so magnanimous, like that. So there is no one, as an enemy or nobody who criticized him. Lord Rama did not take offense when criticized by others, and he was pleased by even the smallest show of kindness. So like this, Amani Namanadena. But his only mood was that show the kindness. He was forgiving and always humble about his own position. Lord himself was took such a humble position. So same how we can how in the same parampara we have Lord Chaitanya, how he appeared and how humble position he took. Otherwise, he could not be in the position to preach all over and then attract the attention of the masses. So unless a person takes that, unless that divine form takes that humble position, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited that, what is the maximum capacity of humility. So he exhibited, and then he showed that. Lord Ram kept the association of only those persons who are pious and superior wisdom, and he was always the first to welcome guests. Lord Rama firmly adhered to the truth. He honored the Brahmanas, he loved the citizens, and they loved him in return. So this is the glories of Ram, which nobody can. That's why he was also called as because he was giving so much respect. Deen hai ya Raja hai ya whatever rise hai, jo bhi hai, whoever it is, whether rich or poor or destitute or a child or an aged person, whatever, everybody he was giving that kind of a respect. So that's why he got the title as Maryada Purushottama Ram. So like that, his glories are unparalleled. There is no time. If we can go on for the next few days, we can continue about Ram's glories. So this is the thing, and we were into that topic in the episode where he's trying to pacify Sita, but Sita never accepts. Sita became very agitated while listening to Lord Ram with anger born of love. So this is amazing. Anger born of love. Completely, it's unimaginable. For us, only anger comes, no love. Or only love comes. Love means in the lusty form. But here it is, she was so much aggrieved and so much of anger. She was about to, that we cannot imagine that. But it is all out of love. Anger out of love, like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Jagai Madai were there, and then Nityananda was hurt, he was hit, but Lord took that position. He was so much in anger. Then again that love, again for his dearmost brother, he had to show that love and compassion, and not only that compassion even to the fallen conditioned soul. Ultimately, Lord's desire was that to uplift the downtrodden. His whole avatar is that, right? To uplift the downtrodden. So had he cut off the heads of Jagai and Madai, would have been so glorious? No, it would have been people would have heard it and then said that, yeah, this is the wicked. But then he did the udhara of even such. So like that, this was her anger born of love. So very full, the way even the wordings Prabhu Das, Purna Pragnana Das has used. I think it's all coming from Ramayana. It's amazing. She said, "Oh Lord, my husband, most excellent of men, what advice are you giving me? It is a duty of a wise wife to share her husband's destiny. And so I will go with you to the forest. A father, mother, brother, son, and daughter-in-law all have separate identities. But a wife has no choice but to follow her husband. She, her Pativrata. Sita, knowingly that she's going to suffer. And she was born, coming from such a royal family, enjoying all opulences. Everything was there. And they had to relinquish. And now they are going to the forest where they may have to sleep on the floor. Not even the floor, at least floor is something, but it's on the dried grass and maybe so much of insects and so much of kida and so troublesome. No shade, no shelter. Whether you get food or what, you don't know. Sometimes fruits are available, sometimes it will not be available. Because in the forest, generally, half the fruits are eaten by whom? Or mostly 90% of the fruits, animals and birds and so many, like in the city area, you have hardly, birds. The population is more of men, 80%, and 20% is the other varieties. But there in the forest, it is the opposite. Or it is, 90% it is all the other entities. And so where is the chance? Even that to get also, it may be so difficult. And if you have to go and then try to get it, suppose you find you want to eat some mangoes, all the parrots should have eaten, or you want to eat some this jackfruit. Everyone loves jackfruit. All the bears will be there. How will you go? You cannot fight with the bear. So difficult. But this is despite all that, she took that position. She said, no, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to follow your instructions. I will follow. I'll come. I cannot find refuge in my father. So like that, she says, other relatives, if you have that position as a relative, they can do anything. They can change their position. They can have so much of, free will. But as a wife, only her position is to serve the husband. So that was her. And she refused. Then Ram didn't have a choice. Lakshmana also says later on, and then he goes to Lakshman and says, I want to, I will go, you take care of all the three mothers, and then you please be here. But then he also refuses. He says, oh Lord Ram, as you walk through the forest, I will stay in front with my bow in hand, so that you and Sita Devi can enjoy the scenery without distraction. I will gather fruit and vegetables, and when you sleep, I will stand nearby to guard you. So see the kind of his servitude, attitude of servitude. So like while Ram showed that what is renouncement, what is that you have to, what is that the quality of renouncement, whereas Sita showed the quality of pativrata, stri, and Lakshmana is showing the quality of servitude, the dasya bhava. Although he was a brother, he could have actually, had that. Of course, that the dasya bhava also is coming out of the vatsalya. Whereas they are all brothers, right? Even though they were brothers, we'll come see further that how Bharat took care of Ram, how Lakshman took care of Ram, all out of that vatsalya bhava. Vatsalya bhava was so much overpowering that they even went to the extent. I mean, the dasya, the servitude was their main focus. So like that, he's telling, I will not sleep, I will take care of you. So that was his mood. So there are amazing lessons what we learn from here. So that's why Bhagavatam 1.2.16 in the second chapter, Suta Goswami is talking to the Naimisharanya rishis. So in that there is this shloka which comes, Shushusho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi. Shushusho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipraha Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. So this shloka is talking that how in order to do the bhakti, how first hearing is important, shushusho, then shraddhadhanasya. You have to have that much of that faith and utsaha in doing the devotional activity. Shushusho shraddhadhanasya vasudeva kataruchihi. So where that your adoration and your mind attention should be towards grasping and to hear the nectarian pastimes of Vasudeva Katarochihi. That is the most important thing. And if you do that, and how you have to do that, it will not end with that. What is the next thing that you have to do? Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipraha. So that is the most important thing, is that you have to extend yourself in serving. Syan Mahat Sevaya Seva Vipraha. Then once that comes, then you will have this Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. So that means those Punya Tirthas are those devotees who are completely bereft of any vices. So you have to render service. Mahat Sevaya Vipraha. Vipraha is again all pious people. And Mahat Sevaya Vipraha. Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. Without any ulterior motive. Completely devote yourself to Seva. So this attitude of servitude was shown by Lakshmana. And then further will come Bharata. If he listen to Bharata, we will cry. We will cry, really. It's amazing. That is his quality. And then how, of course, time is very limited. There's so much to glorify these personalities. It is beyond our capacity. So this happens, and then they go to the forest, and then Guha. They meet Guha. They go to Bharadwaja ashram, and then finally Bharadwaja Rishi says that you please go and stay in Chitrakoot, because this is some place which is very remote and it's not such accessible. And then Ram also feels that suppose I'm here, because everybody is here, they are not allowed to, they are not leaving him to go. All his ministers, all the citizens, many of them followed when they came to the forest. But Ram did not want that to happen. He wanted them to go stay and then do their activities. But they come. So then Ram feels that I want to stay away from this, because my objective is different. So like that he says, then he asks Bharadwaja Muni, what should I do? Where should I? And he directs. Then they go to the Chitrakoot, because that is a kind of a remote area. So after they went, now here the most important thing, which I also did not mention earlier, is that when this happened, that the curse was affected, and then when Ram was decided that she took Kaikeyi took this, pleaded that boons, and then it was awarded, and then he had to go to the forest. Where was Bharata and Shatrughna? Yeah, they were in their in-laws' house. They were in their in-laws' house. That is that Kekeya Raja. Kekeya Raja's daughter was that Urmila. So they were in there, which is that place. There is that place. So that they were in that place. Both of them, they were just relaxing, and then maybe they were, Yudhajit, their maternal uncle Yudhajit, and so they were there, and they were not aware. Even despite this happened, that Dasharatha was in such a situation, and this Rama had to go on exile and all. They were not aware. And then finally, ultimately, what happened? That after Ram left, Dasharatha left his body, because out of so much of grief. I think within Ramayana says about within few days, 5-6 days, he could not tolerate that separation from the Lord, and he fainted. He passed away, and that was a big blow for all the Ayodhya Vasis and all that time Lakshmana. I mean, Lakshmana also not there. Ram is also not there. It's only that three his wives and a few ministers, Sumantra. All these were there. That's all. So somehow now this message had to be conveyed to Bharata and Shatrughna. So they send the message to him, and after 7th day, they will come to know. They will come to know that this agony mishap has happened, and Dashrath is no more, and Ram has left, Lakshmana has left, all that. So he completely fails, crestfallen, Bharat. But what to do? This is again he considered as a destiny, and then finally he comes to the Antapura, to the Ayodhya, and then he enters into the father's palace, and then he sees that father is not there. So I mean, he finds that first he comes to Kaikeyi, and then so now he says, I have hurried back to Ayodhya at the urge of the messengers. How is my father? I did not find him in his room. So now Kaikeyi calmly replied, my son, your father, the king, has passed away. So upon hearing this, Bharata fell to the floor while crying aloud. Queen Kaikeyi quickly went and lifted him, saying, my dear Bharata, do not become so sad. It is the duty of an enlightened person to remain equipoised. Now she's talking philosophy. Kaikeyi, I don't know what about that she's telling, no, that is Sitoshna Sukadukada, Tam Sitiksha Sabharata, all that, Mahabharata, all that, philosophy she's telling that you have to remain calm, equipoised, all that. But then he's completely shattered. Bharata tearfully asked, how did my father die? Did he leave any message for me? Mother, please send someone immediately to inform Ram of my arrival. So like that, as if relating some pleasant news, Queen Kaikeyi frankly replied, being exiled from the Koshala kingdom, Rama went to the forest dressed in tree bark, and Sita and Lakshmana have followed him. Your father could not bear to live without his pet son, and so he gave up his life while crying out, oh Lord Rama, oh Sita Devi, oh Lakshmana. So these were the last words of Dasharatha. which Kaikeyi is narrating to Bharata. So that shows the kind of, the bonding which Dashratha had on his dearmost son and his wife, sons, including Lakshmana and all that. But again, he was completely helpless, and then he left his body. Bharata asked, why was Lord Rama sent into exile? What horrible crime did he commit? Did he unwittingly kill a Brahmana or take his position? So like that, he's wailing. He's in that mood of separation. Then ultimately she gives that these boons were the ones which affected. And now I want you to become the king. She tells Kaikeyi to Bharata, but Bharata flatly he refuses. What he says? Yeah. Dear mother, I will never let you accomplish your selfish ambition. I will go to the forest at once and bring back Lord Rama so that he can rule the kingdom. After Lord Ram is installed upon the throne, I will engage myself as his eternal servant, for that is my natural position and highest aspiration. So the moment he comes to know that he has to become a king and all that, he knew that this is not his rightful claim. Correct? So it reminds of the Chanakya Pandit's famous shloka, Matruvat Paradareshu, Para Dravyeshu, Lostravat. Correct? And then Atmavat Sarvabhutanam, Pashyati, Panditaha. So this is that famous shloka where he has given that direct instructions that you have to look at all the ladies, women as your own mother, and treat others' wealth, others' richness, material thing as something as the stone. Just as a stone which is lying anywhere, it is available. Anything you want, you can throw it, and you can you can find it. So that kind of a thing. Even if it is the costliest of the gems or the pearls or whatever it is, wealth, it is still considered as you treat it as a lostravat, as a stone. So like that was his mood. Highest form of renunciation. So Atma Sarvabhuteshu, Pandati. Pashyati Panditaha. So this was the character he displayed, and then he was never attracted to this wealth, because the first and foremost thing was that he wanted to be. He's telling that no, my natural position is to be a servant of my elder brother, and that's what I'm going to do. I don't want anything, no highest aspiration. So, when we talk of Bharat. When we talk of Lakshmana had the mood. I was just trying to relate with how Shikshashtakam talks about. So Lakshmana was in the mood of it is the Trunadapi Sunichena, Tarorupi Saishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So that was his mood of servitude. So he went with Ram, correct? Because he did not think about anything else, living in the forest and taking care of his elder brother and his bhabi. He never thought of that. He just, Tarorupi Saishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtana. So, and then at the same time, glorify Lord. That was his mood. But in case of Bharat, what was his mood? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmaneshwari, bhavat bhakti rahaituki. So that was his mood, and he took that, because he is completely, on a level of servitude, and he was epitome of that renunciation. Anybody in our situation that if you get a chance, tomorrow you will become a temple president. Temple president, at least in a spiritual world. So if something else comes, like you become a big director of a company, or you can become a ME, MP, MLA, something like that, then people will simply accept, oh, that position I'm getting. Now it is predicted that Sudhamurthy is going to become the next president. So like that, we are so hankering for power and this materialistic designation. So we are ready to accept it. Correct? I'm getting that fame. I can travel all over the world. I'll be respected. Immediately we'll take, whether you're qualified or not. But Bharat did not show that quality. He renounced. He relinquished all that, and he did not hanker for it. His anger, but instead of that, he was actually anger. His anger was on whom? On his own mother. On his own mother. He was so much anger. And then there is a big argument which goes on. Has anger, after that. So he said, that is my highest natural position and aspiration. A hard-hearted woman, think of how Mother Kaushalya must feel in the absence of her only son. Not only will I bring Lord Ram back to Ayodhya, but I will myself spend 14 years in exile. See the vow he's taking. I will also be in exile, just to keep my father's promise intact and save Lord from abandoning his vow. So he took that position. My superior, my elder brother is suffering. I'm also going to take that suffering. His anger having become highly inflamed, Bharata was hissing like a serpent. But then suddenly, due to excessive grief, he fell to the floor unconscious. So he could also not control. So after all this happens, then finally, Bharata decides that he will go to Chitrakoot, and then he pursues his journey. I think we're almost at time. So I'll just quickly conclude now. And there is one very important, this is the statement what Bharat makes. My dear mother, this is what he's telling to Kaikeyi in that Vartalap with his mother. Lord Ram is my very life and soul, and my existence has no purpose other than dedication to his service. So that is his statement. Then finally he goes. Then they approach the Chitrakoot. And while he's approaching, he's not going alone. He's taking his all his army and all the paraphernalia, because he want to provide some facilities like that, fruits, eatables, and all that to Ram. So he's going there, and while while they're coming, the dust comes. They see the smoke, and Ram sees the smoke is coming in the near distance. So he asks Lakshman, "See, please go. What is happening? Who is that? Why that smoke is there?" So he goes and climbs the mountain, and then sees that. Finally identifies that it is Bharat, and all his army is coming. So then they get some doubt. Oh, maybe he's coming to take away the king. What? So some kind of doubt they get. But then Ram says, no. Bharat would have come to just meet us. Just have patience. Let us see what is going to happen. So then Bharat comes, and with all his retinue, he comes, and then he meets. He is the darshan of the Lord. So the moment he has darshan of the Lord, and at that time, what is the position of Bharat? He was much more austere than Ram, because he was wearing the skin, the skin cloth, or the mat, no, what is that, tree bark clothing, and completely emaciated. He was so much of austere. He had done so much of tapasya, matted hairs, and all that. So that reminds of our Gaur Govind Goswami Maharaj. He was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. Actually, Gaur Govind Goswami Maharaj came in touch with Srila Prabhupada at a very later stage. Almost in 74 or 75, he came in touch. While he was such a great personality, but still he got at a very later. So the moment he had the darshan of Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, immediately he gave him Diksha. Within few months, he gave him sannyas also, because he was a very staunch devotee. By birth, Gaur Govind Maharaj, they were all great Vaishnavas. They were all Radha, what is that, Radha? That their home deity, Radha Madan Mohan, or one of these deities, Radha Jiu. They used to call the Radha Mohan Jiu. So that deities they were worshipping. So traditionally, very, very austere and very, very pious. And immediately he gave him the sannyasa also. And then he told him that you please translate everything what I've written in Oriya, because he was coming from Orissa. And then immediately he did that. And that time, after that, Prabhupada was moving all around, nowhere. He didn't have time even to discuss. But he told the instruction that you set up a temple here. And that was the instruction what he received, that he has to preach and set up a temple. And immediately they started searching. And by God's grace, Krishna's mercy, they got the land also. And that land, now the place where you see the Puri temple, that is actually outskirts. That time it was a jungle, complete forest. But still he took that. And they stayed, he made a kutir, and then he stayed there, totally austere, not even taking, regular prasad, only some few liquid and some few nuts and fruits, not even grains. People were bringing, but people, he was actually, that time, Puri, it is almost about 4 or 5 kilometers away from the main temple. So it's totally in a jungle area, but he still withstood. And if you read his, I think not autobiography, it's a biography written by one of his, I forgot the name. What is that? When Good Fortune Arises. Amazing book, Good Fortune Arises. Allah Prabhu. Yara, one of their devotees, their disciples have written it. Good Fortune Arises. Amazing book. So in that his entire history they have recorded. What are so that whole place where he was living was full of termites, ants, termites. Can you imagine? Termites are the ones which they are not even afraid of the snake. They live in that ant hill, and if they bite a human, that's it. The clotting, so many things happen. You will be in so much of pain, and in that condition he lived there, and he started translating. He took but everything he did it, and who was protecting all along? Huh? All Krishna was protecting him, Jagannath was protecting him, Prabhupada Mercy was protecting him, but he continued. It's all, I mean, Romanchana, your head will stand. We cannot even, we are now nowhere near that kind of a attitude, that the attitude of renounced order or the Vairagya or Virakti. We are just grossly sense gratifying devotees, but he's uncomparable, their form of renunciation. So like that, Bharat also took that position, and then and when Ram saw, he was so surprised. He never imagined Bharat will be like this. He's more austere than me. And then so as Bharat ran to touch Lord Rama's lotus feet, he fainted and fell to the ground. Again, he fainted and fell to the ground. Then Ram pacified, he lifted him. So like this goes on, and then they have their, so I'll just conclude another 2 minutes. There is very few important things which are there. Or maybe we can even cover in the next class. Yeah. So he then took the blessings of Sita Mata and Lakshman. All that happens. Then finally, this is the thing. I'll complete this and then we'll end it. Yeah. Lord Ram remained adamant, however, insisting that one's duty to his parents is inviolable. When Bharata finally understood that his attempt to persuade Lord Ram had failed, because the purpose of his coming was to take back Ram, Sita, and all that, and then he gives all the philosophical explanation. But then Ram refuses. No, I have taken the vow, and this is the I will fulfill. So persuaded Ram failed. He became so depressed that he ordered Sumantra, spread kusha grass in front of the door to Lord Rama's cottage. I'm going to sit there blindfolded, fasting from all food and drink until Lord Ram relents and accepts the royal throne. So he comes to that position, but that also fails. Then finally, he says that I'm going to take your sandals, right? So, yeah. Finally, Bharata bowed down to Lord Ram and said, after regulating the burden of ruling the kingdom to these shoes, I will remain outside Ayodhya. See, he did not even go to Ayodhya, the royal palace, where he stayed. It is in Nandigram. Nandigram is 19 kilometers away from Ayodhya. Now, it's also called Bharat Kund. That place is still there, So he was there in Nandigram, and then he made his own hut, thatched house hut, and then he stayed there. The main worshipful deity was Lord Ram's lotus feet, the sandals, and that was his worshipful deity, and he was doing that. Yeah, I will remain outside Ayodhya, keeping matted hair and wearing clothes of tree bark. Lord Ram, I will eat only fruits and roots while awaiting your return. But if after 14 years you do not come back, I will give up my entire life by entering into fire. So like that he says, and then he comes out of spontaneous affection. All the citizens followed Bharata as he went to Nandigram. Upon his arrival, Bharata first ordered his ministers to place Lord Ram's shoes upon the throne. And then it is said Bharata would often be seen holding royal umbrella over Lord Ram's shoes, or else fanning them with a chamara. In this way, Bharata ruled kingdom for 14 years, always feeling himself subordinate to Lord Ram, who remained there in the form of his shoes. Hari Hari Bol. Yeah, so this is the ending of the Ayodhya Kand. What we covered is almost Ayodhya Kand. And with that, we come to the end. Then comes the Aranya Kand. That is all about, because after this he goes back and then he starts worshipping, right? So then Ram and Sita, Lakshman, they proceed further. They go to their next destination is Dandakaranya. Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman ki Jai, Shri Rama.
Devotees on Zoom can unmute themselves to ask any questions or share any reflections.
Wonderful, Prabhu. You quickly summarized the whole Ayodhya Kanda. Dandot Pranam, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, so nicely connected with the Chaitadarpana Marjanam. So nice, Prabhuji. We did not had that idea at all, Prabhu, how Lakshmana and Bharata is connected to like a Granadapi Sudichena. It was a really wonderful point for me. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and a wonderful class, Prabhu. Even the very little time, but so much of information you try to give it us. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna, so we end the session. Bhagavatam Ki. Also Ki.